Hi YouTube, thanks for tuning in, and this afternoon we're going to be stripping the cylinder head off this high efficiency Jaguar V12 engine. As you can see, if my camera woman Bella would just zoom in, I've already got the one head off, the A-bank, and I'll be honest, it is a bit of a struggle. I have got the correct tool. This is it. It's a plate that Mr. John Brown from Scotland off a Jaguar XJS and XJSC fan page off Facebook sold to me, and I really would like to thank him, because without that there's no way on earth I'd be able to get these heads off, because all the fasteners holding the cylinder head on have been removed, and I've tried with a crowbar and there's no way these heads are coming off. So without further ado, let's crack into it. I'm going to take the camshaft off first, and they're held on by these 13mm nuts. You've all got to get yourself one of these U-Bolt impacts. They're absolutely fantastic. It's got 3 speeds, and at the moment I'm on the lowest speed. I'd just like to thank my camera person for being with me this afternoon, because it is really cold this Sunday afternoon. Right, we've got those off. Now here's another tip for you. Don't ever throw your wife's baking trays away, or roasting dishes, because these make great parts containers. So just get those off. They are coming off. The little anti-vibration washers as well, that are all held on by. Years ago I never had that DeWalt impact, and we had to rely on the old air impacts or the old speed wrench and the breaker bars and speed braces. Alright, these are nearly off now. It's a twin cam engine, so obviously I'll have to wash it. So obviously there's an inlet and an exhaust lobe on the camshaft. I'm always going to drop washers. Fact of life. Remember, the cams should always be identified, cam A, cam B, and as you can see I've got a little label here for camshaft B. Take that off now, and we'll just tie that in there so that we don't mix it up later. That's done. Put it over here. Okay, now we have to line the plates up on the actual cylinder head. The plate's already been drilled and tapped for M10, and there's holes that have to line up with the camshaft journal caps all the way around. It's extremely heavy, this plate is. It really is a two-man job, to be honest. Right. back again. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle there because I've had to take out the B-bank camshaft sprocket. I've had to remove that because this plate, it must have been handed, and as we all know, the cylinder heads on the V12 engine do slightly overhang from one bank to the other, so I've had to remove the sprocket. Okay, let's get back to it. Put the plate on. I'm just going to put some nuts and washers back onto it just to hold it down. I'm not going to torque it down, I'm just going to nip it all up to hold it in place. I'm going to miss out every other camshaft journal. Bit of a strange engine, this Jag V12, because it does use metric and imperial fittings. Bit of a hodgepodge, I suppose, when you're owned by British Leyland and you have to use what's available. Okay. Just run these down, I'm not going to go bonkers. I know I'm not using an impact socket on the end of this, but it is a snap-on 13mm socket, so if I do destroy it, I'll be able to warranty it. I won't tell my snap-on guy that I was using it on an impact. Okay, if my camera woman would just like to zoom in now. As you can see, the plate now is fastened all the way home. It's resting on top of the camshaft area of the cylinder head. It's right on top of it. It's fastened down. I haven't torqued it. It's just nice and snug. Now the fun begins. I'm just going to put a little bit of WD-40 down the jacking holes on the plate, just to keep it all nice and lubricated. Okay. Just get the all thread. I just ordered some M10 stainless steel all thread off good old eBay, and we're just going to put some of those down. They're about, well, I'll tell you the exact length, I'll get a tape measure out. I've cut them to 135mm. There is one slightly longer one, and you'll see why we've had to cut one slightly longer in a few minutes time when we start getting the head off. Just going to start them all by hand. Going to stagger them. Now what happens is that these studs actually pass through the plate, and they line up with the actual cylinder head stud itself, and then the studs jack themselves off over the stud. So could we zoom into that, Bella? If you can come around this way. Can you just zoom into that there? That's what we're talking about. So if you can see, there's the actual head stud itself, and once the all thread has passed through the jacking plate, it is going to jack against there. Can you see that there? Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Okay. Okay. Now it does say in the manual that you shouldn't really use an impact or any sort of powered tool, but it's the 21st century now and I don't really want to be here all afternoon because it's absolutely freezing in the garage today. So let the fun commence. Start in the middle. I'm on the low setting of the DeWalt 18 volt impact. So that's just going through thin air at the moment. Okay, and can you just zoom into this one, Bella? We can actually see, we are actually going to see the oil thread coming all the way down. Can you see that? And now it's right against the stud. Can you see that? No. Okay, how about if I put a bit of light on the subject? Can you see that now? Brilliant. Okay, now we're going to do exactly the same to all the others. Okay. Okay, that's against there. This one. Okay, that one's against there. Alright, the fun begins now then. Start off in the middle. I'm going to stagger. Okay. Just a few turns on each one. We're not going to go bonkers straight away. Just remove that so we can see the cylinder head as it starts to rise up. Yeah, if you can you already see the crack appearing in it now? We have lifted it ever so slightly. Yeah, it's coming, it's coming. It's moving. Yeah, can we see the crack appearing in it? Ever such a small crack. Got a little pry bar here. Can actually get that in. So we're doing really well. Now you must make sure that the jacking stud is against the cylinder head stud. Now we've got a slightly longer stud here. I'm just going to put that into this hole over here. In the middle. Let's see what we're doing. Okay. Now you've got to make sure, as I say, that the jacking studs are against the head studs, and obviously the head studs come through the cylinder head. So you've got to make sure that the jacking bolt does pass through the cylinder head hole as well. I'll just get the torch, thank you. Yeah, it is moving. You can see there, we've got the gap appearing. Fantastic. The previous cylinder head on A-bank was an absolute pig, it just wouldn't move. This one seems to be coming off fairly easily. I'm not saying it's easy, it's not an easy job. we're just going to stop here for a minute. Just give everything a once over, make sure that we're not higher on one side of the engine and compared to the other. Yeah, it's coming up. I can get my fingers under there. I know I'm not going to be able to prise it off just yet, because what happens is that material builds up between the gap between the actual cylinder head stud and the walls of the hole that it passes through. Just going to give everything a little spray with WD. Lubricants of many uses. Right, okay. Just have a swig of my tea from my Snap-on mug. Yeah, you've only got to spend about £20,000 to get one of these Snap-on mugs. Makes teas taste so much better. Yeah, we are getting there. Now these cylinder heads are extremely heavy, so you should really have a friend with you when you're taking these off. I'm just going to see how loose they are. No, still very, very, very tight. I mean, you can see the gap there. We've got a good 50mm gap there between the actual engine block face and the cylinder head face. Now these studs now, if you can just zoom in, Bella, you can see these studs are about to bottom out on the top side of the plate. That's why I've got this one single very long stud. I'm going to have to carry on with that one. But it's not going to come up much more now anyway. That's it, the one's bottomed out. Right, I'm just going to put the impact down. Let's just see if I can wrestle this off. Nope. Still going to fight with me. Just blow my nose. Okay. Going to have to take this one single long haul thread out. Put it in the middle. Right, okay. Just make sure it's still on there. It's bottomed out there as well now. Okay. I think it is free. It's just going to be a matter of moving that longer piece of ball thread and putting it further along the plate, see where it's catching. Okay. I think it's catching around here somewhere. Just try it in this hole. Make sure it lines up with the stud. See how we're doing now. Yep. Put it over here. I think it's catching around here. I think that might be it. Just have a go. Heard a funny sounding thud. Well, if you can just like to zoom in, Bella. The actual head itself now, it's off the smaller studs. It's just hanging on for dear life. It just doesn't want to let go. It's on the longer studs. So, stuck down there somewhere. So we're just going to take out the longer stud, the longer jacking stud, and put it towards that area. Try it in here. Mind you, I'm just the first setting of the Volt Impact. Fantastic tool, as I said before. You've got to get yourself one. Binding now. I think it's this end. Press the longest. I should really have had a couple more longer studs, but sometimes you can only work with what you've got. Okay. So the front of the cylinder head moved quite a bit then. Got to be careful because I don't want it coming off and breaking my legs. I'm going to have to remove one of these smaller studs now. Start in here. I think this might be it. Obviously health and safety first. Don't go putting your hands down there, because if it ever does decide to slide down, then it's going to hurt. That didn't go in, something happened there. Okay, start again. Okay. Obviously what's happening is that when you're jacking up the one side, it's getting pushed down the other side. So let's just try rocking it. That's it. Very gentle persuasion. That's it. That's it. And there we have it. The removal of the Jaguar V12 cylinder heads. Thanks a lot, YouTube. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Over and out.